living on planet Earth, we have a large spectrum of emotions, feelings, energies, from the low to the high and all these gray areas in between. As a reflector, you will experience, you'll know that you're in a high vibe by being inclusive and embracing of people and environments. And the minute, it's because you're in the right and correct environment for you. If you find yourself in energies of low frequencies, such as anger, bitterness, if you're surrounded by other people and they're experiencing these, or jealousy, or all these unsavory human shadow characteristics. And when I say shadow characteristics, they're on the spectrum of the human emotion that illuminates uncomfortability and or struggle to give you an opportunity or a choice to raise your vibration.
And to make a change.
It's giving you an opportunity and a clue to make that change. And that
pivot into something else.
That change starts within. Everyone always thinks, well, we've been conditioned to believe that, oh, if I just change my environment, oh, if I just... yes, that is true for you to change your environment as a reflector. That actually does apply. Like, change your people, change your environment, it's okay for you to lose friends if they're not vibrating and they're not making you feel good. It's okay to walk away, and it's okay for you to step out of that reality and move into a new area if it is draining and dragging you down. If you find yourself disappearing, dissipating, just feeling like you're coming undone, that you have no drive, you have no will, if you're feeling a lack of creativity, if you find yourself in the wrong environment, you have full permission to walk away and step into your own power. And because if it's not up to them to change, the only one that you can change is yourself. And sometimes you do need to change your situations in order to support and be in the right environment for you. I am a projector. We're both projectors, but I have a lot of openness in my chart where I really relate to reflectors on a very, very deep level. And I too am extremely sensitive to my environment and being in the right place and with the right people. And there have been multiple times in my life that I was not in the right environment and I was not around the right people. And I had to make a choice and I had to walk away from them. And granted, how I left those situations, probably could have done it with a little bit more grace, but sometimes you gotta burn the bridge to move forward. So you make sure that you do not go back in that direction. And speaking from my own experience, if you find yourself in that place, brother, sister, you have that right to do what is right for you, and there is no right or wrong.
Yeah, but also understand, too, that there's no rush, and that you don't also, at the same time, we don't want you to feel like you need to feel this pressure to move every single time that you feel disappointed, right? Or, you don't need to feel as though that it's urgent or it needs to be immediate, because also understand that disappointment in and of itself isn't a bad thing. When you start to look at emotions as neither good or bad, we attach duality to them as humans because it helps us understand and make sense of things, and because, like Wynn said before, the negative emotions or the uncomfortable emotions are what push us to change, right? So when you take that disappointment as information of, okay, maybe it's time for me to make a change, then it takes the urgency out of it as well. So give yourself the time and the space that you need in order to make that choice of where you need to pivot next. And yeah, just understand that it's just information.
It's just information, and to sit with yourself and using your authority of moving through time and going through the energies and talking with as many people as possible within your sphere to communicate, because when you're able to talk with others that you trust, that's that energy, so that you're able to transcend lower vibrations into higher vibrations. There's an element of trust of yourself and others that apply to this process. That when you talk and communicate with others when making decisions, you are able to sample their energy and get that information to make the best decision and choice for you when it feels the most clear for you to move on. You are your own authority, and you have the ability to empower yourself through knowing and understanding how you are designed to operate, and then informing the people closest to you. This information is going to be life-changing, because then everyone understands that we are actually all different, and we're all designed to offer a unique piece to this puzzle. Each one of us has our own piece that gets to play, and that we get to fulfill our purpose united together as a whole.
Yeah. Well said. Okay, so the Reflector's superpowers. So your first superpower is your ability to be super empathetic and your empathy. So you can see other people's potential and amplify it because of your openness. And it's also important to not put so much pressure on yourself that you need to speak wisdom all the time, because you embody wisdom. So understand that when you're in the moment and you're in the right environment, the right words that are needed are going to come up for you. And also that sometimes your wisdom is just in holding space for other people.
Very much so.
And also, your sensitivity is really your strength. So, I think that we're often conditioned that when we're feeling sensitive, that's the time that we need to withdraw. But really for you, when you're sensitive, that's when we actually need you and need your wisdom the most. So, obviously pivot into different environments when you're feeling unsafe, or when you're feeling unhealthy, or when you're feeling disappointment. But when you're feeling sensitive, it's really important for you to share within your comfortable environment exactly what you're feeling, because that's going to show the rest of us how we all need to take care of ourselves as well. And when you own your sensitivity, others will see it as a strength as well.
Yes. So because you have no definition and your centers are all open, you have the ability to be unbiased in your relationships with other organizations or people. You're able to see the full spectrum of the highs, the lows, the positive, the negatives, without really having any personal connection to whether it's good or bad. And that's definitely a plus, because people definitely can be biased from their definition.
Yeah.
Like, that can definitely happen. That is a huge superpower for you.
Yeah, and oftentimes we're conditioned to believe that we need to have very set opinions or points of view on things, but understand that for you, you're here to see the forest from the trees and really be able to take things in from a wide perspective. And when people understand that your kind of open-mindedness is a superpower, then they won't expect you to really stick to one opinion or stick to one point of view, because they'll understand that that's one of your strengths.
Yeah. And your third superpower is you are the natural oracle. That people can come to you and you are able to see within them in the moment. People will pull things out of you because of your unbiased nature and your empathy. You become the one being that's able to see so clearly what is the potential for that person in the future. And granted, be aware that because you are the oracle, it might throw people off maybe a little bit if you say something or if you perceive something in them as a potential for their future and it's not in their immediate sphere. It's almost like you're planting seeds of awareness and potentials that they can grow into and become. So don't ever take it personally if the person that you might be being an oracle for is thrown off a bit, or maybe gives you the idea of like, oh, I don't know about that. Just be like, oh, well, this is just what I see. And don't take it, just live in your truth and live and being this sensor of others, of what you see in them, and take it. It's almost like in the Matrix when Neo goes to see the Oracle, and you're literally that woman that gives cookies of, well, it's up to the person to see it within inside of themselves. And you're just delivering a message. By having an open throat, you're able to communicate in a way that you're able to plant seeds and sow seeds, and it's up to the person essentially whether or not they want to nurture or grow those seeds that you give them.
How would the reflector hone in on that skill?
Journaling, self-awareness practices, meditating, yoga, anything that you can do to get clear in your own energy, whatever that practice is for you. It like we talked about earlier, all those skills, whether it's discharging, like hanging out with children, nature, pets, animals, any way that you are able to feel more in tune with yourself, whatever that is, whatever feels correct for you and feels good for you, and that makes you feel all warm and fuzzy, that gets you in connected with your own inner child.
And your surprise and your delight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything to get you connected with your own inner child. If there's a movement, yoga, drumming, music, art.
Anything that helps you to empty out the other energies that you're always absorbing from other people. And taking the pressure away from feeling like you have to do it all yourself. Commonly, that's like the number one energetic block that we give ourselves, is feeling like we need to hustle and feeling like we need to be working all the time to prove our worth, when in reality, when we release that idea that work always has to be hard, and we lean into the things that are easy and, kind of in flow for all of us, that's when we hone in our natural abilities to let energy flow through us. And for you, that's so important, because when you let energy flow through you, that's when you get to be really wise about everything that's going on around you. So what are some challenges for the reflector? Some things to watch out for?
Yes, so we play the comparison game a lot in our culture and society. Now, mind you, 70% of the population are generators. And then generators naturally have this ability to like crank out a lot of energy, content, material. They have this like energy to do. And as a reflector, you might find yourself not being able to keep up, and it might even show up physically. It might show up physically where your body literally cannot keep up with the rest of the world, so you might feel like down on yourself or like there's something wrong with you, but there's nothing wrong with you. It's just being able to know that you need a lot of recharging, you need a lot of options to recharge, rest, rejuvenate, self-care. Huge for you in order to navigate the challenges of feeling like you can't generate things on your own. And also being aware that it's okay to rely on other people to make things happen. I mean, really, we're all interdependent and interconnected with each other. And that and even though there's this false preconceived notion that, I'm independent, I have to do it all by myself, we all rely on each other, every type. Giving yourself permission to take breaks and relax and rest and honor your own individual cyclicality, your own cycles of ebbs and flows. Like the moon creates the tides, you move with the cycles of your own life. That journaling can help you discover your own cycles.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I like what you said about, just about honoring your own energy and understanding that you don't have to do it all yourself. And I think as projectors, we also struggle with that sometimes too. At least I know that I definitely have. And, it's not about quitting your job tomorrow, and it's not about like moving to the forest in Hawaii, even though that's one of our friends did. But for me, when I started to learn that I needed to honor my own energy, and then I didn't have the energy of a generator or a manifesting generator, I just put that intention out into the universe and started to get clear on what I wanted. And I gradually kind of took invitations that allowed me to work less and less and focus on my gifts more and more. And so it's not always about making a shift overnight or, trying to find the perfect career or the perfect situation, but understanding that if you just follow from one environment to the next, like one environment that feels slightly better than the last, and then the last and the last, and trust that it's going to get you to the place that you want to be in the future, you'll naturally find yourself moving towards a place that you want to be.
Yes.
Deconditioning takes a lot of time.
It does.
So be gentle with yourself and with your friends and your family who are learning this information, because it just takes time.
It does. It does. And living in a world where we have instant gratification and you can look up any information, part of us believes that, this will happen overnight, and that's just it's not the case. Relating back to nature, you plant a fruit tree and you could easily not get fruit for a year, sometimes 3 to 5 years. Sometimes that's the only time that the fruit blooms and grows. And we're all fruit trees. And sometimes it takes a bit of time. So, full permission to be patient with yourself and going with the flow. And checking in with, if you have a spiritual practice, whatever that looks like to you, however you communicate with your higher self, to help you navigate, and then trusting and having faith that you are going to be at the right place at the right time with the right people.
Yeah. Just doing the next right thing, and then the next right thing.
Yep. Another challenge you might feel and experience is social obligations. Which also can translate into potentially social anxiety. It depends. It depends on your own makeup, and there's a lot of variables and factors, but social anxiety can happen. I've seen that happen amongst a couple of our reflector friends. It's being really clear about being in a group for an extended period of time, or even public places, and then having that ample alone time to recharge and come back to your essence and empty out. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the one thing that is going to be available in these videos is that there is a community forum within each of these videos. So if you have any questions, or you feel like even sharing a story, feel free to connect into the comment section underneath these videos, so that we can all communicate and then share stories. Or if you have any questions, we'll definitely be reading and checking in on the answers, and you'll get direct feedback from us.
Absolutely. So, that's how we all learn, is through sharing our stories and getting feedback, and basically just starting an ongoing conversation.
Yep. So thank you so much. We hope that you have learned a lot from this video, and looking forward to connecting with you in the future.